Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your co-host, Louisa, and I'm here with our co-host, Steve.
Hi, everybody.
We're also here with Captain Max Steele, who is a friend of the GoldFish Report. Max, I'm going to unmute you so you can say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here with this distinguished guest here.
We have a very special guest with us today. We have a gentleman by the name of Audrey-Uis, and for short, we're going to
Audrey-Uis, yes.
Audrey-Uis, and for short, we're going to refer to him as Audrey to make it a little bit easier. Audrey is a very special guest that we have today, and we're going to go into some more detail about his background and why he's joining us. And we just want to say welcome to the GoldFish Report. Audrey.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we have our co-host, our gracious host, the ambassador, the Red Dragon family ambassador. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you everyone for coming, and I just wanted to welcome our guest to the program, and I think this program will be very interesting. I will step out because I have to do some recover, and but I will listen to this program, and I hope it will be as enjoyable for all of us. And please, good luck to everyone, and thank you all for coming to the GoldFish Report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. And I just wanted to let our viewers know that this is a very special GoldFish Report. I gave a lot of thought to the questions that I wanted to ask because it isn't every day that we get an opportunity to speak with an off-world being. And Audrey-Uis, so we're going to refer to him as Audrey, is from Lyra. And Audrey, I'm going to allow him to give more background about himself, but just briefly, has been here since 1972 and arrived here, I think, crash landed in a particular way, spent 2 years at Area 51 and basically a series of experiments, interrogation, all kinds of very uncomfortable living conditions, including living in a cell with a female companion by the name of Ariana House. And this is a very fascinating story. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this particular GoldFish Report is because Audrey has a message for humanity. He has information that he wants to give out. He's been stuck here for 44 years, not able to return to where he originated from, has learned a great deal about humanity, I think good and bad, that he'll be able to explain to us. And I couldn't ask for a much, more fascinating interview subject. And I don't know, I just want to say, Audrey, thank you so much for joining us. This is such an incredible opportunity for not just for us, but for all of humanity, for the messages that you're going to bring to us today. So thank you so much for being here. And could you begin by just explaining to us how you arrived here?
Ariane Haas and I, we came from New Lyra, which orbits Star Atlas within the Pleiades system. We traveled here to your planet, Earth, to try to make a difference, try to spread a message of hope, a message of peace. And upon entry into your atmosphere, your airspace, we were hit by a missile, and our hull was blown out. We flew down to the deserts of Nevada. We crashed into the desert. We were injured. We were very bruised. No bones were broken, but we were in a lot of pain. Ariane Haas had passed out from the impact, but she came to, and we unbuckled out of our seats, stood up to see the extent of the damage. And not more than what felt like maybe a few minutes, we had military personnel in vehicles, these big military vehicles and helicopters, what I know now are helicopters, that were flying overhead, and they landed and they seized us like we were convicts, like we were criminals. Seized us and they forced us to go with them. They locked us up into these vehicles and drove very swiftly through the desert to a facility which I came to know as Area 51. They took us down these elevators, and I remember it felt like the elevator was moving very fast. And they pushed me into one cell. The window was clear. There's a wall where the door is that is clear so that the soldiers who pass by can look through the window and see you inside. And then there were 3 solid walls that were beige in color, beige, white and beige. And there was a simple bed with a blanket. There was not even a pillow. It was just a blanket and a very hard bed, and a table that was mounted to the floor, a chair that was also mounted to the floor. And there wasn't much in that room. They put Ariane Haas in the cell next to me. I remember I could still hear her voice in my head. We still talked. And she always gave me messages of hope to hang on just a little longer. Because they would take me day after day down to the cells, or not cells, there's a room with a big table. Take me to an elevator. And they would carry me. They would hold my legs and my arms so that I couldn't fight. And they would carry me down to these tables, and they would strap me down. Take needles, they'd stick them into my abdomen. They'd take needles and stick them into my arms. Take knives and cut my arms open.
Oh my goodness.
Still have some scars all over me from that.
You must have thought how barbaric this planet is when you arrived here. Did you immediately realize?
It was my first impression of the people. I couldn't scream. I couldn't use my voice. I couldn't show that I couldn't exhibit pain or fear in the same way they could. But I remember when they were cutting me open, I would start tearing up. Tears were flowing from my eyes, but they wouldn't stop. I tried putting messages into their heads and they couldn't stop. They wouldn't stop. So I went through this for 2 years.
Yeah.
While I was in my cell, they took pictures of me that you all know very well, apparently. They took pictures of me and pictures of Ariane Haas, and those were stored in their archives. There was a man by the name of Richard Ben Kramer. At the time, I only knew his last name because it was on his uniform. Very short-cut hair at the time, and he would visit me every week. He would come in and he would sit down and talk to me, try to teach me things. He would put down mathematical tests, put down, tests with long equations and things, and I would solve them. I would figure them out after he taught me how to understand the numbers. I was able to do their equations. Like one equation that they gave me, I remember one of the very first equations they gave me was x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. One of my favorite equations. He gave me that one at least for 3 weeks until I could solve it. I came to know that later on in my time here as the quadratic formula.
Right, the quadratic formula, that's what I was thinking of.
Anyway, as I was saying, he gave me my first teddy bear, taught me to start verbalizing words like bear and spoon and fork and knife and plate, table, bed, chair, toilet, simple things like that. They taught me to use things like that. He was working with me day after day to try to teach me that not all people there were bad. He really cared for me. He loved me very much. And I remember 2 years later, he opens the door to the cell. He has a folder in his hand. And he looks at me. And he said, come, he said to me, come to me, Audrey. You need to go now. He let me out of my cell. I grabbed my teddy bear. They had taken my blue robes about a year prior to that, so all I had to my name is what I was wearing. I was in my bare feet. And I had my teddy bear, my white teddy bear that he gave me, which had a little red bow tie. And he opens the cell to Arianha's cell, and he calls to her to come, and she couldn't stand because she hadn't eaten for 2 years. She was surviving on water and meditation, but she became so weak and fragile. He had to walk up to her, and she tried to stand up, and she was shaking. She put her hand on his shoulder, and she started standing up, her legs shaking. And he helped her walk out of the cell, and I was standing in the hallway, and nobody came. There were no guards. There was no soldiers in the hallways. And he took us to the elevator. And I remember as we went into the elevator, in his left arm, his file folder, as he walked in, opened, and I could see our photos in there and many other documents. So I can only assume that that was our file. He took us up to the surface where our vehicle was being held. At that time, the hull had been patched up with a metal that wasn't the same composition as the rest of the vehicle, but it was patched. They fixed it, put it back together. The vehicle was not chained down. He told us to go now, leave. He told us to leave. Arianha made the doors open. We boarded the vehicle, and she sat down in the main chair, and I sat down next to her in the passenger chair. And she turned on the vehicle, but she dropped her head down. She was so tired, so weak. And she lifted her head back up, and she turns on the vehicle. And we start lifting into the air as the graviton engines turned on. Diamagnetic energy pressing against the Earth's gravity causes us to lift. And we began flying out of the bay. We began flying over the United States. We were heading eastward. We went northward. And then finally she lands. And she was not feeling good. She told me that she didn't know if she was going to make it. She said to me that she would be back for me. That she needs to get the ship back, and she needs to get better, but she would be back. she dropped me off in New York.
Why New
And
York?
that's where I was, because that's just where she stopped.
Why did she
I
drop
was
you off at
found
all?
out because she was weak. She didn't want to risk losing me if she couldn't make it, and she crashed the vehicle again.
So did
She
she?
did it to save me, not to abandon me.
Right, I
She did
understand.
it to save me.
And how is she?
So,
Did she make it or not?
so she did make it.
Wonderful.
I know that because I still hear her sometimes. She did make it.
How long does it
So
take to travel? I'm sorry. How long does it take to
we,
travel from Lyra to
it,
Earth?
it takes approximately 7 hours and 24 minutes to 7 hours and 30 minutes to travel, depending on which kind of vehicle you're flying of ours, with photoradionic drive.
What speeds are you traveling?
3.16 billion miles per second estimated.
So this is superluminal speed. Is this tachyon technology?
Photoradionic, utilizing quarks and
Or
vibratory frequency within quarks. Photons are just highly vibrating quarks blown away from the nuclei of their atoms. That's all they are. Highly vibrating quarks that appear to glow. That's what a photon is. It's nothing more than that.
but aren't
Everything is made of the same thing in this universe. Everything is made of photoradionic energy, photoradionic waves in this universe.
but our
So because of,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I apologize, but you have to understand that we're going to have some questions because you're presenting information that we don't particularly know much about. So we want to try to understand what you're telling us. And our
You know, your string theory here, your scientists, those strings they see inside of quarks, those are not strings, those are photoradionic waves that they're looking at. That is what everything in this universe is made of, at varying levels of vibratory frequency, which creates the illusion of density or lack thereof. All colors that you perceive are different wavelengths of frequency from these photoradionic waves. As they hit the cones and rods in your eyes, they create an electrical signal. What you're seeing is an illusion. It is what you call a hologram in a very real way, because everything is made of the same thing. You are no different than a rock or a tree or a mountain or a star. Everything is made of the same thing, just at different densities, combinations, and frequencies. And this is something that we understand as a collective where I come from. This is common knowledge.
what organizes the different densities? How do you manifest
Different polarities. Certain frequencies attract other frequencies, like a magnet. And it creates different densities of photoradionic waves and quarks. As a result of this, you have some quarks that are slightly bigger than others are smaller. But they're all the same thing. And you have nuclei of atoms that have varying numbers of quarks. So this creates different types of atomic structures. The vibratory frequency in quarks determines what types of electrons, neutrons, and protons orbit the nucleus of an atom, which are also made of photoradionic energy of different polarities. So a photon or a proton, a neutron, and an electron are freely floating photoradionic waves. In collection, that's what electricity is.
So that means that if we use the right frequencies, we can alter matter very easily, actually.
Yes. And it's very dangerous to do if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
You
so,
can create or destroy something, and I don't wish for anyone to use knowledge that I share to create weapons.
Of course.
okay. So I think in some of my research, would it be inappropriate or incorrect, I should say, to say that or suggest that quarks are like minuscule black holes? Is that a way to understand that or not? Is that the wrong way to think about that?
If you have to relate it to that, you either have a quark as a miniature star, or a quark as a miniature black hole, or a quark as a neutral.
Okay.
The frequencies can go below zero into negative, or they can be in positive. This creates the illusion of what you call dark matter. This also creates matter, antimatter, and matter. And when those types of quarks collide, they don't cancel themselves out, they become neutral. But they look like they cancel out, they look like they disappear, but they don't.
So this is a good place to start with the message that you wanted to give, I think, because you want to give us a little history, understanding of our history, and perhaps this is really the best place to begin, is how, I mean, I don't want to interrupt or cut you off, but I want to be mindful of our time, and I want to make sure that you get the message out. After all you've been through, that you came here to help, I want to make sure that you are able to deliver that information, the kind of information you intended to bring here. So I just want to make sure we leave enough time for you to do that.
I want the people to focus on a star growing at their center, to meditate on a star growing at their center. I want them to learn to love each other, to stop warring, to stop fighting, stop hating, stop being so stressed or sad or depressed. All of these things are very, there's a word I'm looking for. They are not conducive for ascension. All of these people can ascend. Every single one of them are capable of ascension. It is their birthright. And this is something that their cabal, the people that rule over them, have omitted for many, many thousands of cycles. They've lied to their people here that they've controlled through omission. This information is something that should be freely available to everyone, the driver's manual to their own bodies, to learn to heal, learn to heal even age itself just by meditating on a star growing at their center, to cure cancers, their diseases or sicknesses. All of these things can be cured. Their pain, their damage can all be healed from the inside out if they learn to meditate on a star growing at the center. But you cannot begin to heal until you let go of all of these painful things, until you start learning to forgive people, to stop holding on to such painful grudges against other people. You need to learn to start forgiving people. You need to start learning to let things go. They need to learn to love. You cannot sail a boat with your anchor down. You can't fly a hot air balloon with your weights attached. You can't drive a car without wheels.
All right, let me just interject there because we do have such a various group of belief systems on this planet. You know, people may have different way to look at love, and maybe you can give us an idea of what love isn't, maybe what love is by what love isn't, or just maybe how would you define love in the way that you're trying to express it?
Love is the fascination with someone else, the caring of someone else in their entirety, all flaws and perfections together. When you love someone, you love more than just who they are and what they are. You love them as a being from the inside, their soul. the connection between them, their frequencies. Love is a very high frequency. And it's one of the most powerful things in this universe. Love, happiness, joy, peace. All of these things are very high vibratory intentions that you put out into the universe. And these things allow for people to unite, not just one or two, but a collective people loving one another could all do so much.
But the
People-
dark forces knew this. Isn't that
Go ahead.
the dark knew this, and they knew that if they kept us from loving each other, that they could conquer us.
Religions, politics, all of these things that they created, money, are meant to divide the people. Racism, their division of languages, language barriers, have all been engineered to isolate the people from one another. All of these barriers need to come down. Everyone needs to learn to communicate and love each other as a whole collective here, or they're never going to evolve. They need to learn to stand up for themselves as a united front, make their intentions clear, that they subscribe to the cabal's tyranny no more. They are all so powerful. All of these people, they have more power than they know.
That's the problem.
And
I mean, to other races, and I'm just interjecting, and I don't mean to interrupt, but our viewers, you know, for those who don't know that we have a cabal that controls us, there's many people who are not awake, as we would refer to them as, or in our case, goldfish. And that's what the GoldFish Report is about. It's about people who are so busy in their life that they live in their own little goldfish bowl and don't really see the world around them because they're very busy. And I've been a goldfish most of my life. We've all been goldfishes at some point because the goldfish is only sees what's in their little bowl. And waking up to the knowledge of the world around us, has been systematically engineered out of our lives. And I just wonder if people from other star systems understand the extent of the manipulation and the psychological manipulation of humanity. Do they understand that?
if they do, I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Quite right. Before we go further,
I wouldn't be here.
yes, we understand that, Audrey. I'd just like to ask you, just before we go further, just to step back a little bit. You mentioned that we need to concentrate or meditate on the star in the center, the star chart. What exactly do you mean? How do we do that?
Focus on a star growing at your center near your heart chakra.
Yes.
Focus on a real living, breathing star, not a pentagram, not something fictitious. You want to focus on a real star growing at your center when you meditate. And as you do that, I encourage everyone to focus on the children they used to be. I want to focus on having them bring that child back because that child has never gone away. It's always been there. They need
The
to
inner
nurture
child,
that child.
our inner child.
Yes.
Yes.
Your inner child, who you were before you were old, before you were damaged. Focus on that because what this will do is it will encourage your body to begin to heal from the inside. When you are meditating on a star growing at your center, what it does is those quarks that make up your entire body, they begin to irradiate with energy, the frequency and vibration of the photoradionic waves within those quarks begin to excite, and the mitochondria within your cells absorb this energy. And as they do that, they are the batteries that make your cells work and regenerate properly. And the higher the energy is in those mitochondria, the more youthful your cells can produce vitamins and proteins at youthful levels and metabolize vitamins and minerals in your body. and they will regenerate at youthful levels, reconstructing your body from the inside out. You will look more youthful, and you will live much longer.
So will this actually repair the telomere?
You will heal age itself.
So you're giving us the secret of eternal youth, basically.
Yes. The thing is that even if the cabal is listening right now, you cannot be an evil being with evil intent and use this method to heal. It does not work for them. So whether they know this knowledge or not, it would not help them. It would help the people if they learn to change their ways. But those that have a life of war and malintent towards these people that live with such black hearts will never be able to heal. They will never be able to use this method to reach youth. This is why you see so many of them so old in the cabal. Why they look so broken down. They can't heal themselves like we can. Because they're so evil.
Yes, I get that. Thank you. Is our DNA changing by itself in relation to the cosmos?
Everything is always changing,
Right.
including your DNA, but not limited just to your DNA. Even the trees are changing, the insects are changing, the animals are changing, everything is changing here. The DNA is slowly, as overall frequency rises very slowly with time, everything is changing. So change is an inevitable thing.
Yes.
But the right change, pushing yourself in the right direction now, while that change is slowly accelerating, this gives you the opportunity to evolve, to be something much better and stronger.
Okay.
Something so full of love.
Let me just ask you something. So I'm sure you can tell immediately by frequency, by energy, who is benevolent and who is malevolent, just by their energy.
Yes.
Okay, and can you help us? Why is it that we can't? I mean, sometimes we get a bad vibe about somebody. That's kind of how we refer to it. We have a bad vibe about somebody, but we have so much sensory stimulation, over sensory stimulation, that I think that it's very difficult for us to feel the energy as much as we should be able to, and that we can't really always know what someone's intentions are and whether they're, going to cause us harm. Or I think you get a general sense, but you're saying that it's a frequency that you read. Is it gut feeling, or how can we develop that a little bit better?
Well, let me touch on frequency and beings and you being able to feel what you call vibes from people. What that is the beginnings of connection. That is your pineal gland, your transceiver, starting to work. When you are able to sense someone's presence and they feel very dark and heavy, very negative, and you can feel anger from them. And you feel it inside of you as though it's you getting angry, but it's not. This is you connecting with them. That is what you call empathy. But that's more than that. That is a being to being connection. You're not just feeling them, you're feeling their soul. You're feeling who they are. And what I feel when I read people, I feel a whole lot more than that. I feel everything that they've done. I see their memories, I see their past. I see things that are not so pleasant to see. I see good things that they've done, but I see bad things they've done too. And I see it through their eyes as though I were them.
Wow.
I don't like reading people for that reason. The level of connection is too high for me and they are too unrefined. But I'm trying to teach everyone that's listening to refine themselves. And it starts with that simple meditation. They need to repair their bodies. And as a result of that, they will also repair their pineal gland. They need to stop drinking fluoride. That stuff is very bad for you.
Yeah, it's, the whole disinfo campaign about, no, you need strong teeth, and well, we won't go on that right now.
People know that, yeah.
You mentioned the soul, Audrey. What is the nature of the soul? Where is it located in our body?
It's located near your heart chakra. That's why I say focus on a star growing near your heart chakra, because you're increasing the strength of your soul more than anything.
And is that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Is that, we've been told that we're co-creators. So what is this co-creative capacity that we have? Does it originate?
Everything you say creates an intention. Everything you do creates something, whether it be that you're walking and you're making wind. As you walk, you're pushing through the atmosphere and creating motion. You're creating something all of the time, whether it be in your thoughts, whether it be with your hands, whether it be just walking around, whether it be interacting with other objects. You're creating something every time you do something. Every time you think of something, you're creating something. So this causes either actions or this causes motion in the environment around you. And as you're doing this, you're creating. So where you come from is not here. Your soul does not come from this plane, never has. You came from what you call the fourth dimension. You came from a much higher level, the place you call haven, what you call heaven here, which is a mispronunciation. It's haven. Haven is where you come from. That's a plane. That's not a planet. That's a plane. It's a universe like this. It's a whole different level.
Where is this plane in relation to our plane?
Created of light. Your soul is of photoradionic energy. This is what you're made of. It's the energy source that makes you, all of you.
And
so we learn to control that by meditating on a star growing at our center, which gives us power and domain over our bodies or vessels.
That's wonderful information, Audrey. Could I ask the question, why have you come at this specific time in Earth's history? Why have you come here now?
Have you looked around you and seen what's going on in your world right now? There's a reason why I came here. Because right now is a very pivotal point in the history of all of your people. If you don't learn to wake up now, you're going to, a lot of you are going to be harmed. Not by us, but by your cabal. And we foresaw this coming a long time ago. We wanted to spread a message much sooner. But unfortunately, things are very difficult. Getting here and surviving here was very difficult. So I'm telling you now to wake up and to stand up for yourselves, all of you.
But you understand that when we do that people suffer retaliation. Many people are actually...
No, this can be done peacefully. This does not need to be done with weapons.
No, I didn't say that.
They don't need to hurt each other to make their intentions clear.
Right. No, I'm saying that people who do speak out and they do it in a peaceful manner do suffer retaliation. There's a reason why it is, it's a very controlled system in terms of, anyone who, it seems to have been escalating, that anyone who seems to speak out is silenced one way or another. So it makes it very difficult. This is why I really do think that humanity needs this, what is it, the law of Star Trek law of intervention? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be to forgetful. Prime directive? Does that make, is that something that?
Non-interference, the prime directive, non-interference.
Right.
Understandable. No, I understand. Absolutely. And I'm well aware of the risks.
Well, I think, Louisa, if I may add, I'm interpreting here, but I feel that Audrey means that not necessarily even speaking out, but being aware and changing our intentions, raising the vibration within amongst ourselves will make the change. Is that? Am I seeing this correctly, Audrey?
Yes.
Right. So we can do this on our own level, at a personal level, and if enough of us do it, we will change the vibration on the planet, and therefore the dark will have less hold on us. Is that right?
Yes. Dark cannot exist in light.
That's right. So we have to
Can't
raise
have
the light
both
between
at the
ourselves.
same time.
Yes.
You can have a shadow and a lot of light, but you cannot have pure darkness in pure light.
Yes.
Well, Cobra is a person who has come out and done some, part of what's called a resistance movement, and has said that there is this primary anomaly that exists where all of this negativity and darkness has come from. Can you comment on that?
There is a place. You always have a positive, a negative, and a neutral in this universe, the way everything functions. Unfortunately, that is the same among beings, too. Where you may have beings like us that are very good. You have those that are not so good, that are very bad, that are the opposite. Where one end exists, so must the other. It's a universal law. There's always a balance between light and dark, but when that balance is no longer neutral and everything is on one side or the other, we try to find a median between that for planets when we help people. Right now, your dark outweighs your good. It's heavier on the dark side than it is on the light side here. And we are trying to help. We're trying to help fix that, create a balance, a harmony. And without that harmony, a whole lot of good people are going to perish if they don't do something now. They need to stand up for themselves. I don't know how else I can make that perfectly clear.
No, we get that. But the thing is, mainly is the dissemination of the message. As you know, the media is controlled. People
Yes.
have been taught since childhood that the world is the way it is. So basically, it's an awareness project that has to happen worldwide and quickly, because I'm sure you will agree that things are accelerating. Their plans are accelerating, and
time is very, very short.
Yes.
Right now for all of these people.
Yes.
So if they don't do something now, they may not get another chance for a very long time.
Another cycle.
Which is it. Yes.
But it seems
the next cycle.
It seems to be that people have been in this slumber for such a long period of time that they need a shaking to really wake up. And why are there? Let me ask you this: are there galactic councils who are overseeing what's happening in our solar system?
Yes, there are. There's our council. There's another council of Anunnaki. There's that are not so bad, but we don't necessarily always agree on the same page with things. Is why we don't work with them. Our council comprises of what you call Palladian, us, Andromedan, Arcturian. Just 3 races on our council. And we work together as a united front to try to help where we can. But there are treaties in place. like there are here, where this is a no intervention zone. This whole area we are not supposed to touch because it's a hot zone for what you call alpha draconians. We don't want to wage war again. We never waged war to begin with. We defended our system. We did what we could to defend our people. And that's sometimes having weapons is a necessary thing, only for protection, never to wage war on another race unneeded.
Audrey, may I say the Alpha Draconians themselves, they can't move forward as a race either unless they come to the light, can they?
They will never come to the light.
Why not?
That's unfortunate. Well, they are so controlled. I know Max has been working with them. He mentioned to me that he's been working with them, but there are some, no matter what you do, you can't change because it's in their nature. They're very brute. They're very primitive in their brain. The way that they think about people is the same as, let's say, a lizard would think about an insect. You know, and if you have a frog and a fly, what's going to happen there? The frog is going to eat the fly. That's what a reptilian does. It's in their nature. They've been using these people like pizza, taking children as they wish, and they take them down into the ground and they eat them. They don't care about these people. They see them as a crop. They see them as cattle.
Yes.
This is how they see all of humanity. They don't care about what race you come from. They care about what flavor you are. That's all they care about. And what have they been doing to the people in the U.S.?
But don't
They put poisons and preservatives into their foods to pump them up, to make them more juicy.
Oh yeah, I got
That's
so
what they're
fat. I
doing.
can't even believe how fat I got. And I don't know. I didn't eat anything different, but I've been like blowing up like a cow myself.
But this is what they do because it gives them more substance.
Well,
there will be a harvest, and that's one thing they plan to do.
I better stop eating so I'm not so plump and juicy, huh? Oh,
And I don't mean starve yourself. I just mean stop eating poisonous food with chemicals in it,
well, it's
preservatives and things.
But isn't
Because
it all poison? How do we know? We can't. It's in everything, isn't it?
The fructose you're eating makes your body think. It tricks your body into thinking that it hasn't eaten. And what it does is it makes it pass through your system and you're hungry again. Because it doesn't create certain liver enzymes that tell your body that you've eaten. So that makes you more hungry after you eat. And then you eat more meals. And this causes your body to store more fats in their cells because your body goes into a survival mode because it thinks it's not eating.
Right.
So then you absorb more and more fat in your body.
Yeah. Oh, but
this stuff is very delicious to alpha draconians. They love it.
There's endocrine disruptors though, because I don't eat a lot of food. So it's not it's not for myself personally. It's not a matter of eating because I don't eat a lot of food. So it's a matter of the food that I'm eating is disrupting my metabolism such that it's tricking it to all of these things. I never even feel hungry actually myself. So I've got my own issue, but I think some of us are just bloating up. You know what I mean? Just it's like a bloat feeling. What is that all?
It's a bloat because the cells go into a survival mode. Your body thinks it's not eating because now the fructose isn't telling the body that you've eaten. Most of the foods out here have high fructose corn syrup and other types of fructose in them. And this stuff causes your body to go into a panic. And then all the sugars these people are eating cause damage to their bodies in a way that they don't even know. It will cause not just diabetes, it'll cause other things to happen too. It causes the same kind of damage to their brain that cocaine does.
Okay, but these are savages. I mean, can't we say no? Is there any law that they respect? Is there any treaties and agreements that they honor and respect? Why is it that they are outlaws and they're allowed to do whatever they want?
Because we don't want to wage war with them and risk losing more people, but we want to try to help all of you protect yourselves and stand up and have awareness and know what to do to help yourselves so that you're not stuck in a situation where you're going to be just a harvest. You are a people. You have every right to exist as much as that your cabal does.
Right, and we have councils that need to be protecting us, and there needs to be oversight of those councils. There needs to be some respect for human life here, and that we're not just, we can verbalize and say, we don't want this. The ants and the fly can't verbalize that. They're on the lower end of the evolution scale, unfortunately. But we can
But they
verbalize.
see you as the lower end of the evolutionary scale here too. You understand? You are no different than the fly is to the frog.
No, I'm just saying that we can communicate this, and we can put treaties together, and we can be more sophisticated, and we can exercise our free will and exercise our the fact that we don't consent to this. A fly can't do that, but we can do that. So I'm not saying that we're better than a fly or we're different. I'm just saying that we can communicate this and say we don't want.
Yes, that's the difference. But if the fly could talk, would the frog understand? Or would it eat it anyway?
I don't know. I'm not a frog and I'm not a fly, so it's a hard one to say. I mean, I'll be honest. I've talked about this in a past GoldFish report where, I feel bad having to kill an ant or, something like a big, gigantic ant. Not that it's scary or that it's even harmful, but I think it's our initial reaction. I try not to, but I understand it's still killing something that's living, and I don't feel good about it.
Did you know that an ant can perform very simple mathematical equations?
I'm feeling really guilty.
I'm sure they can.
Yes, they can perform very simple addition and subtraction.
Yeah.
Ants are an intelligent species too, for their size.
They certainly are. The red ants, the fire ants, those ones that can harm us and maybe cause us, I'm not saying that they don't, I'm not saying that I don't think that anybody should kill anything, but unfortunately there are some insects that people are allergic to that could kill them. So unfortunately, in that kind of situation, you kind of have to, defend yourself for preservation. Yes, and I do want to say that the ambassador has had to depart from our wonderful discussion that we're having right now. We want to thank the ambassador for joining us and also for allowing us to have this platform to discuss this incredible information. And we are going to continue, and I wanted to bring Max. If Max, Audrey quite well. The two of you, I believe, know each other from Area 51. And I'm just wondering, Max, if you had something you wanted to, I'm going to unmute you, and I wanted to see how you wanted to, you unmuted, join us in this conversation that we're having.
Well, thank you for allowing me to speak. And actually my son, Audrey here. I want to thank him for being here on the show. I do agree with him. I support him and everything he has said to this now. Yes, I did. When I was in Area 51, I did see him there. And that's all true what he's speaking about. A lot of the things that he talked about, the cabal, is true. But you got to understand something else, okay? There's the two of the most controlling of the planet of these dark forces, extraterrestrial, are the Archons and the reptilians. But as of 8 days ago, I made contact with one of the leaders of the reptilian race, and they have come clean. I have gave them commands for them to do. I just want to say, that the reason why the reptilians was controlling the humans is because when I talked to them, they told me they were in control also by 7 implants they had in their bodies. And they told me if I could help them remove it, that they would help with mankind and ask for forgiveness for what they have done to the humans on Earth by being controlled by their own people higher up in the ranks. So I did a show this past Wednesday on Wolf Spirit Radio with him there. My friend Jerry, he channels them. I speak and talk to him, and he responds back with Jerry. And the leader of the reptilian race, his name is Zelo now. And I put him in charge over the rest of the, because I felt more that he was telling the truth. And I want to express my gratitude to them because, even though I don't totally trust them, but they have been doing a lot of things. They were the ones, the anomaly that shot down the rocket in Cape Kennedy.
Oh, you're talking about the SpaceX rocket that just
Yes.
ago had exploded upon, or even before liftoff. They were checking, I think, the engine systems, and during that time there was an explosion. And you're saying that that was sabotage? Is that what you're saying?
Who shot that?
The reptilians shot it down. They communicated with me, and they told me that they're going to start doing all kinds of different things on the planet to help mankind, because I talked directly to their commander in charge of all the fleets inside Earth and outside Earth. And they can't leave Earth or come into Earth because I put with my galactic family and 12 different allies. Well, at the time there weren't allies. I have 12 allies now from different universes. Not any of the Andromeda or the Arcturian. None of these are not involved in my 12 allies. They're different. They're from higher dimensions. But what I was trying to say is that I communicated when they told me that we're going to start helping mankind. We're not going against them, because when I removed his 7 implants that he had, I freed him. So I asked him if I could talk to the leader of your people, and I was able to contact him. He made a relay of telepathic between us and him, and he said, if you can help us remove the implants that you removed from Zelo, we'll be glad to help mankind, because they just don't want to do this anymore. So my people, my galactic family, and other allies, we help remove over 90% of the implants that they had. And now like my show explains that when I ask them very direct questions to them, that how do you feel when you had the implants? And they were very clear. They didn't feel nothing for love or mankind. So when they were removed, I asked them a question: how do you feel now that has been removed? So he said, I feel much love, and we're starting to feel a little bit of love. It takes time.
Yes.
But the leaders, I've been contacted with the leaders, and they have decided, because I gave them command. I kind of pushed them a little bit, but I didn't mean to do that, because they're not used to this. They're not used to talking with love and stuff like that. So they feel that love that I'm sending to them when I'm talking to them. So they have told me that when they finish everything that I command to them, then they ask me if I allow them to leave, and I say yes. Then I will open the portals up on the Earth, and I will allow them to leave all of them at the same time. I don't want any here anymore.
So these implants, sorry, Max, these implants are from the Archons.
The implants were put in there not by just their people. Their people was forced. Their leaders were forced. The Archons were the ones that did this.
Yes.
And now, if there are pyramids out there, I have a copy here that it shows at the top of the pyramid for the Cabal, it's the Archons. And
Right.
in levels, if you count 1, 2, 3, the third is the reptilian.
Right.
But now that the reptilians are out of the way, the Archon are feeling the pressure because now they're out of control. Okay, so that's what's going on right now. They told me that they destroyed that rocket.
What was in the satellite? What was in the satellite?
I'm going to tell you exactly what was in the satellite. Okay, the Israelis are the ones that made this satellite, and they programmed it according to MK Ultra mind control, mid labs. They had a device that the Archons showed them how to. They made it with the Archons, and as soon as they had put it into space, they were going to shoot a beam that spread out like those hand fans that the Chinese use. It span energy
Yes.
to a quarter part of the Earth from out in space, and shoot a beam of energy to control the brain cells in your mind, and then zap them. When they zap them, then these people will start falling like flies. And that's what they were going to do. And the reptilians, I didn't know they were going to do it, but later after they did it, they did contact me telepathically and told me they did. And they said they ain't going to stop there. They're going to stop the Cabal. They promised me that. So
let's hope.
Let's just hope.
Well, thank you, Max, for the role that you're playing in doing that, and really kind of like a negotiator, an intermediary negotiator. And I'm, tripping over my tongue here. Who is representing the human race in these on these councils? Audrey, are any real human beings like myself on this council?
On our council, we have our people, the Palladians, the Arcturians, and who you call the Andromedans. They're all good friends of ours, and we serve on a single council. So, yes, we represent our peoples, and as most of you are descendants, ancestors of our people, we represent you too. And that's why I am here.
Okay, why couldn't somebody like myself? Why couldn't somebody like myself be on this council?
Well, you could, if you could get to it.
Beam me up.
We have a very large vehicle where we all collect to have meetings up there.
It's not a big lunchbox, is it? I hope.
No. It's a very large vehicle that we designed. Has a very big room where we all sit down and we talk.
Let's go.
Okay, beam me up. Steve, you coming?
Yep, I'm on it.
I think that humanity needs a seat at the table, any negotiating table, for our own fate. And I am in a public policy master's graduate program right now myself, so this would be a really great thesis for me.
Audrey, may I ask the question, what do you know about the Archons and how can we defeat them?
Well,
or neutralize them?
We never personally had dealings with the Archons. I always thought that they were a rogue race of their own. We never really dealt with them as a people.
Mm-hmm.
We dealt with Alpha Draconians, yes. We dealt with them on 2 major occasions. But we never had any direct dealings with them, so I never had a need to have a dislike towards them. But what Max is telling us is that they are not so good.
Well, the
Things that they
understanding
do
that I
are
have, yes, the understanding that I have is that they're an AI, actually. I don't know whether that's true, an artificial intelligence. Is that right, Max? He's muted.
Sorry, yeah, no, we got to unmute Max. Hold on a second. Max, where are you?
Did we lose Max?
We're on.
Here we are, Max.
Max is here. I did a show a couple months back about AI. Artificial intelligence had been removed. We removed it. There's no more artificial intelligence. The only intelligence that's AI is mostly computers that it's not related to trying to control humans. The black goo had been stopped completely, and also the AI. They have no more control about the humans. And about the archons, I know a lot about them.
Yeah, tell us about the archons.
Okay, the archons. I'm gonna first start at the age of 12, when I was 12 years old here on the planet, because I am a walk-in. This is not my body. They control me from the age of 12 to the age of 16. They're tricksters. They pretend to be light beings, and they try to they get in your mind, and then they start to act like if they're angels or they're light beings, and they give you the information that you want to hear. And once you hear it, they got you convinced that they exist. So they start getting in your mind, start giving you all kinds of pretty things, talk about angels and light and all that. That's what they. I hate to tell people this, but I need to say this. Archstar Command. There's two types. There's an Archstar Command that is used on the internet to control people. Those are the archons doing that. Okay, a lot of people have been fooled a lot about that. I didn't want to say that because it's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, and I don't mean to do that. I know they've been doing this on the internet for years, for over 20, 25 years, and they got people. See, that's the way they control, by giving you good things and showing you good things. But once they got a program that they put out there between the lines that you don't see. Your subconscious mind picks it up, but your conscious mind doesn't. So it tricks you, and they control me to the age of 16, and then something popped in my mind, because that's when my people start communicating with me, because I was lost in this world. They dropped me off, and I had a little bit of a memory, but all of a sudden the memory left, and I felt like I was abandoned. And finally, I realized that what they were trying to do to me to hurt me. So I figured it out, and I've been fighting them ever since. And now, when they listen to what this recording, I'm going to tell you, I'm coming after you, and I'm going I'm going to eliminate you from the earth, and I'm going to do it with love.
Yeah. So these guys are interdimensional hustlers. These guys.
Yes.
These guys are all right. So that they're like parasites. That what do they get out of it? Energy.
They get energy. They get control. They can take control of you. It's for them. It's like a shot of vitamin B12. They like, and what they're more attached to is when you go into fear.
Yes.
Fear, they're all over you. But when you start,
that's their food.
Love, yes. If you put love around your heart and expand the love to others, they don't go there. They hate that. They just stay away from you.
That's Audrey's message as well. That's
and another thing, the most important thing is eat chocolate. They don't like it. They don't like it.
No problem.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say for now. Unless you want me to answer something. Audrey, thank you for being here. This is really good. Go ahead.
All right.
Stand by, Max. Just stand by, because this is a very dynamic, very fluid conversation. That's the one thing about GoldFish Reports, is we really never know where it's going to go. No matter what questions I have prepared, it doesn't matter. Those are like backup questions because we don't know where it's going to go. And I really want Audrey to kind of, take the lead, although we have to interject because we have to understand some of the information he's giving us as we go along. So I just find this so incredibly fascinating. I think that Audrey is correct that love is the answer. And I don't know why it seems to be default for some people. Love seems to be a default. And for others, it just isn't. And I'm even talking about, like, some people don't lose that connection with that inner child. Thank goodness. And I think, it is a very hard place to live, whether you're born here or not. It's hard because you lose that innocence as a child when the world around you, when you start to witness, atrocities. And I can remember being probably about 7 years old. We had black and white television, and I can remember seeing images of the Holocaust, of these bodies stacked on top of each other, emaciated. That traumatized me the rest of my life. I mean, I will never, it's an indelible image in my mind, and I never forgot. I was so horrified that could happen. And I think it horrified everybody that anybody could treat another human being that way. And I get the same response from animals when I see anybody abusing animals. It's just, I think most of us, if it hasn't been programmed out of us, do have in the deep center of our being this sense of love that's just unconditional and pure. And I think we need help. We need Audrey's help. We need Max's help to learn how to take those, to unprogram, to deprogram all of the, we've habituated to the violence. We've habituated to seeing these images. Or desensitized, they call it today. People have become desensitized to these images of bombs ripping limbs off of children in Gaza. I mean, why isn't the world outraged at this? I don't understand it. And why is it okay for you to just go on and live your life and not say anything about that? For some people who just choose to ignore it. So I don't know what, we need help. We need help, Audrey. We need to deprogram.
It starts by meditating on a star growing at your center. It's the simplest thing people can do, and it's one of the easiest things you could ever do. It becomes as easy as breathing the more you practice.
So you're just saying
they have to change.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I apologize. There's a little bit of a delay in our audio. So you're saying we just merely hold an image in our mind, in our of our heart chakra of a star, and be more specific about the star. Could you
focus on a real star growing at your center, not something imaginary, something real.
Okay, more description. Like, what are we talking about? A sense of energy, a feeling of an energetic...
Yes, a feeling of energy, a feeling of power. A star is very strong. It's full of vibratory frequency. It's one of the highest points of vibratory frequency you'll ever find in this universe.
Okay, we don't have the right concept of star, so that's why we need you to give us as much detail about this idea of star. And I know Max has something he wants to say. Just in 1 second, Max. I just want to hear Audrey explain. I don't think we should take for granted that we understand what you mean by this. Even though we all understand the word star, I don't think we really understand it like you do.
A star is a conscious being, just like anything. It has a very high consciousness. It's a very bright point of highly vibrating quarks, all in a collective, all in unison, working together in harmony, creating massive amounts of radiation. They radiate all kinds of light just as much as people can radiate love. like Wi-Fi. These things are all related. We are no different than the star is to us. We may look different, but we are made of the same thing. So focus on a star growing at your center. Become full of love. Start learning to forgive people. Even if you don't think they deserve it, even if you don't tell them, do it for yourself. Do it for you. Learn to forgive people. Stop hating, stop warring, and stop hurting one another.
And then
Focus
visualize
on
the
the
child.
growing at your center. And visualize that child, which will help create the intention of healing. Intention in this universe is like your binary code, zeros and ones. Everything in this universe speaks on that level. Everything communicates, and so too can you speak to yourself on that level and give your body a directive, give your corpse a directive. All of that energy you have inside of you, you need to tell it what to do, just like a computer on its motherboard tells electricity where to go and what to interact with, yes?
Right, but we need to
You
heal.
need to tell your body, you need to tell the energy in your body what to do.
We
It
need
needs an intention or it's not going to do what you want.
right,
So
but
we heal
focus
by bringing ourselves back to the state of the child. That's how we heal.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And that is your prime state.
Yes.
That was your most perfect state
Undamaged.
when you started your
Undamaged.
existence here. So
right,
bring yourself back to that.
right. I mean, we're all, we are physical beings, we are psychological, we are, emotional. When we sustain, a psychic wound, let's just say when somebody takes your children away from you unlawfully, and you miss that bond, that almost covalent kind of bond that you have with a child, your child is broken. That's a wound. That's it's an emotional, psychological, and a psychic wound. And we don't really know how to heal that. It takes a long time to heal that. It makes it very hard to forgive somebody when the wound is not healed. And I
ironically went through that exact experience here finally 2 years ago. My children were taken away from me wrongfully by my ex-wife. I tried to start a family here, but she, through the law, wrongfully got me removed from my own home. My only crime was ever just being a good father to my children and trying to be a good husband. But she decided that she no longer wanted me in her life and filed an order of protection based on false allegations with no evidence whatsoever. There was no reason for that. I was severed from my children for 2 years. The only children I ever had here.
Unfortunately,
The only thing I had to my name, the only thing I had left.
Unfortunately,
Everything.
that's a story. I'm sorry, Audrey, but unfortunately,
it's a common story. I know.
Common story. And I'm not minimizing yours, but then what I'm trying to say is these are deep wounds, and it makes it very hard to forgive. So it's not so simple to just forgive.
But you're not letting me finish my point. What I'm saying is,
okay, go ahead.
I forgave her. I learned to let that go very easily. In fact, we get along very well now. Ironically, after all of that, because I'm not unforgiving. I understand just as much as I'm trying to teach all of you this very concept that you cannot sail a boat with your anchor down. You cannot hold grudges against one another. You have to learn to let things go no matter what happens to you, no matter how painful it may be. I know pain very well.
That story will help many people, Audrey. Thank you very much.
Well, Max, I know you wanted to comment, Max. Let me unmute you so you can jump in before you forget what you wanted to say. Go right ahead.
Well, I've actually been writing it so I wouldn't forget. Let me turn on the light here. I don't mean to put it right in your face. What I wanted to say is that my galactic family has been telling me that they're working on a program to release the humans from the Archons. The Archons have, since they've lost the reptilian, like the foundation of a building, since they've lost the reptilians, because the reptilians are more numbered than the Archons here on the planet. There's a lot of them here on the planet still, reptilians, but they are working with us right now to help us because that's what they want to do. They want to give back what they've taken away because now they're released and they're not in control by the Archons or the elites like the Cabal. So what I'm saying is that being the foundation of the Archons, because the Archons were less, they're not in numbers like the reptilian is. Since they've lost the foundation of the reptilians and they're no longer are there for them, so what they do, the Archons have gotten weak. It's like standing on a tightrope and losing their balance about to fall. They have gotten weak because of this, and they're scared. They're scared because they always counted on the reptilians, and now they don't have their. They're not there for them no more. So that's one of the things that I want to say. They just don't have the support anymore. They're very afraid. Archons here on the planet is not. It's not. Okay. It's not the. It's hard to read. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm just going to say the only thing I want to say is that Audrey's correct in everything he's saying, and he's doing a good job explaining everything. And you should listen to him because he has a lot of good points. And Audrey, I know sometimes you like to talk on, and because you're explaining something, but anyway.
Audrey, did you want to comment about that?
I'm so used to people not understanding me. I try to make things as clear as I can. I know I may go very in depth, but I just want to make sure that I'm understood as clearly as I can.
No, very well. No, you're doing a great job. And, we are at the 1.5 hour mark. And I just wanted to see, I could go for another half an hour. I wanted to, I normally don't let it go longer than 1.5 hours for our goldfish reports, but this is, this couldn't be more important, this message. And
we should do this again too.
Well, we will do this again. But in terms of this first interview, I think I have another half an hour to spend. If you all do as well, just let me know because I'd like to keep going. Yeah, very good. And Audrey, are you doing okay on time?
I have some guests coming over here very soon, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so can you let me know how much longer do we have for you then? So I can.
I might have 30 minutes, so we should be okay. Okay,
very good. The messages that you provided are strong and really are very. There's nothing more important than taking personal responsibility for what we've created, and I think that we have. There's some species out there, I would say this way, who think that we've allowed this to happen to ourselves. I vehemently disagree with that characterization.
Well, the thing is that we know that it's not of your doing. This was forced upon you, all of this. And you were taught nothing else for so long that this is all you all grew to know. I'm merely trying to state what you can be and what you should be, but I'm not going to force anyone to change their ways here. They can choose to listen or they can choose to disregard what I say. What they choose is of no consequence to me, but I'm here to share the information as it is for all of them to hear.
We appreciate that, Audrey. I think I may be stating the obvious, but I think that despite over the thousands and thousands of years that humanity has been misled and abused, we, if I'm understanding the message correctly, and I feel that this is also a key to our future, is that forgiveness is a part of this process of us moving forward. And we need to forgive our oppressors as well. We need to forgive the
Forgive your
reptiles.
enemy
That's right.
and
The
love your
reptiles, the
enemy.
archons. That's right. Love them. And then they will have no more power over us because we've done that.
They survive off of fear, not love.
Yes.
Fear and control and hatred and anger, and that's what fuels what they do. But if all of these people even love their enemies, that
Yes.
would change so many things. I don't hate any race here, even the Alpha Draconians, for what they did to us. We don't hate them for it.
Yes.
Yes, we disliked it. It was a very bad situation. We lost our home, and we had to find another. But we're still here. We are still doing very well, and we don't hate those that hurt us. We feel sorry for them.
That's right. Audrey, what was your defense? Just out of interest, how did your race defend yourselves or hide or escape the Draconians?
We had the technology to leave our old system to find another, but at the time we did not have the weaponry to defend ourselves because we were a very simple, peaceful people. We didn't have weaponry. We didn't have need for it because there were no wars. There was no division.
Yes.
We were all such a peaceful people. When the Alpha Draconians came, we were unprepared.
Yes.
We had no way to defend ourselves. All we could do was flee, and we lost a lot of very good people. Just how some of you ended up here. You incarnated here. Some of you from the old Lyran system.
Yes.
And, you know, it took you a very long time because you must understand that in that transitionary phase, your light being itself has a genetic signature, and it waits for a vessel, a body to become available with the same genetic signature. And it's a roll of the dice, how soon that will happen or where you will end up. So a lot of you ended up here.
Right.
And that is highly unfortunate, but knowing where you were all at, and those of you that ended up here during the second war we had with the Alpha Draconians, when they attempted to invade our Pleiades system, and we fought them off. We were prepared this time. We developed a type of a weapon I would prefer not to describe here. I don't want it being developed here.
Yes.
But
Let's not describe it here.
No.
I have many reasons not to want to describe those weapons.
But we'll just use
But
Mars.
we used them to fire upon the Alpha Draconians, and we drove them out of our system. For the first time, we were able to stand up for ourselves. And some of our people in their vehicles pursued the fleeing Alpha Draconians and ended up here. The Alpha Draconians had a fleet. We had heard word from some that made it back here that had to flee back from this system to the Pleiades with damaged vehicles because the Alpha Draconians figured out the timing on our weaponry, and they knew that they had little less than 5 minutes before our weapons were warmed up enough to start firing upon them as we were entering the system. So they were ready for that and opened fire on our vehicles when they couldn't fight. They couldn't launch the weaponry, and they boarded some of those vehicles and drove them to the surface of this planet. This is over 244,000 years ago, roughly.
Where does
What
the
weapons did the
Again,
Draconians use?
our concept of time is a little different than yours, so
Yes.
it's a rough estimate.
So where do the Anunnaki come into this?
The Anunnaki are a cross between what you call Alpha Draconians, Nephilim, and angelic human Christos. And those are all races that they mix together to make one race. That's where the Anunnaki came from. They're a bloodline derived from Alpha Draconian. But mixed in with other races here, they were trying to make a superior race. And they remain, most of them, under the control and directive of the Alpha Draconians. Some broke away from them to try to become something better, to do good, and they formed their own council that we were all once a part of. All our council was a part of theirs once, but we had a major disagreement. When the Alpha Draconians were harvesting these people over and over again across many cycles, there's a covenant that we had with them that we broke because the Anunnaki on that council refused to help, refused to break rules and cross treaties. So we decided we were going to break our covenant with them, and we did. We formed our own council, but they out of spite, they called us traitors, invaders. We were called many things. And we haven't had dealings with them since. Although some of them have finally decided to try to come here to help. There are some that are not so bad. They know that they are invaders here, of course. They know they don't belong here, but they're here to try to help the people as much as they can, just like I am. You know, we're all here to unite in a common cause. We have been working now for years trying to find a way to help these people. I have been trying to find ways in this society to fix the problem. But the problem is not the people. The problem is their cabal. So,
Well, the cabal, you would agree, is they are part of us, or they are from us, or they are us?
No, they are not.
Who are they then?
Cabal is Alpha Draconian, Anunnaki, and Zeta Reticuli. That is your cabal here.
How do the Agarthans fit into this?
The Archons?
The Agarthans. Agarthans. Sorry, the Agarthans.
The Agarthans? Yeah.
Agarthans, you're talking Alpha Draconians that live underground, or the Talos. The Talos are very good. The head of the Talos we've had dealings with. Our council leader, Ptah, he has had conversations with Adama of the Talos many times, trying to find a way to get them to come out from the inner side of the planet to come help the people on the outer side. But the problem is that the cabal keeps them stuck down there. They won't let them to the surface, and the Talos don't want to risk losing their people through wars. They're very peaceful people. The Talos are very closely related to us. A lot of them very tall. They're very pale in skin. Their hair is very white in color. Their eyes are very pale. But they are not the tall whites that you speak of. They are different. The tall whites are another type of Anunnaki with very pale skin, very tall, and they're very thin, but they don't stand in sunlight very well. The UV radiation is very harsh on their skin. It's very harsh on their bodies, so you will usually never see a tall white in the open sun during the daytime.
What is
For that
their
reason.
agenda? Why are they here?
Those are Anunnaki.
That's all right.
They have the same agenda that your Alpha Draconians do. However, as I explained, there is a small population, very small, that broke away. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, they broke away and they formed their own council that we ended up joining at one point before we had a major disagreement. So we ended up being divided. So they have their own agenda, although now they are trying to help. That small pack of Anunnaki are trying to help. We still have a very big difference in views. But we are all trying to do the right thing. The problem, though, is that there's always a very real risk of war again on our system if we try to interfere here too much. That's why you don't see a fleet of us coming here, because there's always a very real risk of war. We're not trying to wage another war.
Yes.
We've had enough wars.
Okay,
We've lost enough people.
exactly. Let me propose something here. I mean, there's many universes, according to Alfred Lambermont Weber, who is a futurist, who has, is the father of exopolitics. He has a book called The Omniverse. We're talking about many universes, many dimensions, billions of galaxies. This has to have happened, someplace else in the cosmos where there was a way to resolve this. I mean, these people, these entities are like a cancer growing on our planet. And there has to be, I would have to think, just out of if you just look at the probability of this, that this is already, there's been a solution to this somewhere. And the question is, how do we find that solution so far away? How can we, there has to be a solution to this. This cannot be an unsolvable problem. Do you agree, Audrey?
I do agree, and I've explained some of those solutions already.
Right, but I don't think...
But as I said, us coming here to, let's say, invade the planet to stop war here would break a lot of treaties that we agreed to. We came to a neutral agreement that we would not interfere with them. They would not interfere with us.
Okay, but I, as a human being, am not represented on that treaty. I have a problem with that.
No.
I don't, even though I realize and am very respectful of the fact that we're descendants of the Pleiades and these systems.
But that's why I'm here, is because all of you, at least most of you, have direct ancestry with us. You're still our people too. And we're here to try to help without causing more problems for you.
I understand, but cognitively, there is a separation because we don't have a memory of our past. We don't have a memory of who and what we are. So as far as we're concerned, like, we're not the same as you. You know what I mean? We're a different breed because we've been wiped. Our memories have been wiped and we don't have access to this. So in a way... But I had to believe when I was stuck in a cell that there was some part of all of you that was still the same. When I was experimented on, I had to believe that there was still some level of compassion in all of you, that there was still some hope. Because all I saw were very bad people at first. I didn't see a whole lot of hope for you all when I first came here.
I believe that.
But I do now. I've seen a lot of people do very good things, wonderful things, very selfless things for one another. I've seen so much love in this planet. There is still hope for all of you. whether you see yourselves as our people or not. You are all your people. And you all have the power to help yourselves too. And that's what I'm trying to drive into all of you, into all of your hearts. All of you are stronger than you think. You have so much power and so much potential. You need to live in a world without money. Your money, your currencies here, that is a very big problem. That is the foundation of what the cabal uses to control this whole society. This is what they use to divide your entire world. Although you may all stand on the same planet, you don't stand on the same grounds. You're not on the same level with each other. You're all divided. That should not be. All of you should be united as one people, as you are. All of you. You have created so many variations of yourselves between some of our Arcturian friends who were captured here and our Andromedan friends. You have made so many variations of yourselves, done far beyond anything I've ever dreamt of. There's so much beauty in this world among all of you. So much uniqueness in every single one of you. I don't see you all as divided races. I see you all as one race that the cabal divided against yourselves.
I think that's very key what you've said. We need to see ourselves as one race on one planet, and that will change a lot of things.
Color?
Yes.
Doesn't matter the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, the color of your skin, the way you talk, what language you speak. Does not matter. You're all one people. There is not one race or another. There are not 50 races here. There is one race of people, because all of you are the same, no matter what color you are.
And I thank you for reminding us, Audrey. What I'd love to do personally on another show is to hear how your society lives. I would love to hear that in detail the next time. That might maybe a big lesson for us.
We will talk about that on our next broadcast.
Yes,
that would be
I would
wonderful.
love that.
We
I
actually
would love that.
will, because those were among some of the questions that I had, and I didn't mean to suggest, that we should be considered different. I was just saying on a cognitive level, since we don't have the benefit of our history and the benefit, of our memory, that what was the word I was going to use? Not that we were different, physically, but that we're earthlings. We were born here, so that in that regard,
well, our recent history is different. Our recent history is different.
Right, and what I'm just saying is that I think that the modern, human needs to be on this council. I think that someone who has lived in this forgetfulness, who doesn't know the history, who doesn't know who and what we are, but is competent and capable to represent that population. I'm just talking about representing the population of humans who have been enslaved on this planet. That's from within. Am I making sense? Does that?
Well, let's ask Audrey. Let's ask him. Are we?
I will. I'm not trying to say we're better. I'm just trying to say I think that from within the stock itself, that perhaps someone should be on the council.
Are we represented on the council, Audrey? Are we represented?
An earthling should be on the council. That's what I'm saying.
You all should be on the council. I agree.
Are we represented currently?
Well, he answered that question already by virtue of being, not
mentioning us.
No, but by virtue of us being offspring, or I should say ancestors of the Pleiadians and the other members of the council.
The Lyrans, yeah.
And the Arcturians, that we are being represented because they are members of the council. And there has to always be oversight of the council. There has to be some sort of, international, or I should say cosmic law, or some sort of galactic laws that have to be followed. And there has to be circumstances where treaties must be amended for changing circumstances, since one of the first things you said in our interview is that everything is changing all the time. So in that case, you would need to revise or amend these treaties for changing circumstances. And I should say that that's why I feel very compelled to say that we need a human representing, like an earthling-born human to represent humanity. Those who are being, I mean, am I making that
Yes,
how
absolutely. I would love Earth to join as a council of the new people among our council, to be united with us all, so that your questions can be answered among not just my race but the others.
Right.
You know, I come from a long line of history, but I was not Andromedan. I've never been Arcturian. They all have different views. And this is why it's important to have variety on our council. To be able to see things from different perspectives. And you all have your own perspective here, and that is important. As simple as that may seem in your minds, as small as your perspective might seem, it's a very big perspective. And that is important to have on our council. All of you deserve the right to speak for yourselves on our council.
Right. I mean, if
and thus set treaties and be able to, you know, change the rules of engagement here, because as it stands now, we can't enter your airspace without waging a war. For me, just to be here was a major risk. For me to be here, I risked everything.
Well, we're very grateful.
So,
we are very.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I didn't expect to survive. I didn't expect to live through that. I made my peace with the possibility of eventual death a long time ago.
Which is another interesting topic of conversation that we're going to bring up in our next interview that we do. And you know, I just want to say how amazing this is. And Audrey, I hope you realize I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm not trying to be in any way saying that we're better than anybody. I'm just trying to say that we do need to make changes, and we need to reconcile these problems, because we shouldn't be used for harvest. I think we need to.
You are not cattle.
Exactly. And even cattle. I haven't eaten meat in 25 years. So until I would, I don't believe in it. I don't think I need to survive, to kill a beautiful sentient life to survive. I don't believe that I need to. But that's my personal belief. I'm not going to project that onto other people. But I do think that we need to revisit these treaties, and we need to do it now. And I would ask you, and I'm kind of saying this in a joking way because I don't know how else to say it because I'm limited, but I don't know if you can beam that information up there, but I would definitely like to make sure someone up there is hearing this, and I have a feeling they're listening already. But I think that we need to go back to this table. We need to stop this, and we need to have everybody represented properly. Because we need to revise these treaties. They need to be representative of the situations that are happening currently, not 200 or 400,000 years ago. We need to these treaties must reflect what the situation is and the status going on this planet right now. And we do need to revisit and revise them, clearly. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I fully agree. The treaties that were in place are the reason why it was so hard for us to come here. But I felt that because no one else on my council at that time would agree to come here, that it was our duty to take it upon ourselves. We broke a lot of rules in doing this. So I'm here, and I've been stuck here now for 44 years. Trying to find a way to make a difference here. I am just one being. It's difficult as just one to make a difference, but I've proven among all of you that even one voice can make a difference.
No, it's
If
absolutely.
one voice could make a difference, imagine what 7.9 billion voices could do.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Audrey. And, I'm going to say that that's a really great statement to wrap up this incredible, really, history, I think, making interview. I would like to make it known that we are all very grateful. And for those who don't even know about your sacrifices, how grateful humanity is to you for what you're bringing here, what information you're sharing with us, and for your efforts to come here and really try to save this race. And so why don't we start with our closing comments, because we're going to wrap this up now, and this is a 2-hour mark, and we will Audrey, we are so grateful and so indebted to you, really, for what you've done. We thank you so much. Will you return to the GoldFish Report with us and continue this conversation?
You are most welcome. It was an honor.
Thank you, Audrey.
Truly.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
Will you come back and join us again?
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. Let me start with closing comments. Max, did you want to start? What would be the one message you would want to leave our viewers with today?
Not to give up, and for them to come to the path of the love, the word love, and bring it into your hearts and allow it to sink in deep, because you need a lot of love in your heart and all over your body, and believe in it, because it does exist, because it does exist for me. And I want to thank Audrey for what he's doing. Is it's not out of courage or as a warrior. He does it because he does it from his heart, because he has love for us and his people. My people are doing the same thing. We want to do everything with love, not with violence or weapons, because we do have weapons, but we don't use them. And that's what I have to say. And I want to thank also Steve for being here, and the ambassador, and you, Louisa, for also doing this of love. Love is the word. That's it.
Thank you so much, Max. You're absolutely right. Steve, what would you like to leave our viewers with today after everything we've gone through? And I know there's so many more questions, but I also really appreciate and treasure your insights. What would you want our viewers?
Well, first of all, thanks for everybody for being here, especially Audrey for being our messenger and somebody who's come to help us through his goodwill. I mean, he's suffered a lot, and I'm sorry for that. On behalf of whoever's done this, I can't do it for them, I guess. But I think if there's anything I'd like to say is that please, people, take his message to heart, because it certainly resonates with me. Practice the sun, rejuvenate yourselves, see yourself as a child, undamaged, unharmed, perfect. Learn to forgive, let go. Don't be a boat with an anchor that's on the bottom of the sea. Free yourselves of all this nonsense that we've been taught, that we've been indoctrinated with, the lies we've been told. Free yourselves, see the truth, and be the sun and rejuvenate. And I think it'll certainly make a difference. Thank you very much, Audrey.
Thank you so
You
much.
are most welcome.
Steve, thank you so much for your comments. And Audrey, before I make my final announcements, I'm going to give Audrey the last word. We are going to continue this, but for the first time, for the listeners who are hearing this for the first time, if there's something, please let us know. Share with us, what would you like to message would you like to leave with them? A final message today.
Just meditate on a star growing at your center. Start revitalizing your body. And you need to focus on a child, the child you once were, in your most perfect state. All of his innocence and her innocence, everything you used to do when you were a child that made you so happy, the sound of your mother's voice, sound of your father's voice, that comforting hug that they used to give you when you were unsure about the world around you, when you were in fear, when you were injured, that care that your parents gave you. I want you all to focus on that as you meditate on these stars growing at your center. Revitalize that innocence, because all of you are innocent. Every single one of you is innocent of everything going on here. This is not your fault. It is not of your doing. You're doing things because you don't know what you're doing, because you weren't taught, and that's why you were innocent. All of you. And with that, I'll give it back to Louisa.
Thank you. That was a very powerful message. And in fact, this entire interview has been very, very powerful. And I really hope that it resonates and reverberates throughout this entire planet as far as it can possibly go. I want to, again, thank all of our panelists today. I want to thank the ambassador. I know he had to leave early. I want to thank Max for coming and for your contributions. Max, for what you're doing. Steve, thank you so much for joining and being part of this panel to invigorate this discussion. And Audrey, you know, and from the bottom of my heart, you know, I love each of you very much. And I want to thank you so very, very much for your hearts at this table. And for—
I love all of you.
Thank you. And for more information about Max, I'm going to include links to Max's website and his information on the description section of this video. We will have a follow-up to this. We are also going to have another Exopolitics roundtable coming up at the end of September, which is going to focus on everything is energy. And really, we're going to have Cobra as one of our panelists on the Exopolitics table. Randy Kramer will be back joining us. The ambassador, of course, will be here. And we are also hoping to have Duncan O'Finian join us for that round table. And we never know, we could have other surprises for that as well. But it is going to talk about energy, how everything is energy, and how we can understand ourselves a little bit better through understanding energy. And again, thank you so much for everyone for your time and your participation today. Please follow us on Facebook, join us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And this concludes this edition. And of course, I wanted to say thank you to all of our viewers for viewing. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.